The 2019 Rogue Invitational is presented by Concept 2. Concept 2 is a family-owned business of athletes and fitness enthusiasts dedicated to providing innovative, high-performance training equipment. Concept 2 indoor rower, skier, and biker. By RP Strength, the advanced science of diet and training, customized to get you results. And by ROMWAD. Optimize your range of motion. Official partner of the CrossFit Games and the Rogue Invitational. Start your 30-day free trial at romwad.com/rogue.
Opening day of the 2019 Rogue Invitational, a company that was started in Bill Henniger's garage 13 years ago, and now is the leading manufacturer of strength and conditioning equipment, not only here in the United States, but around the world. And this building here in Columbus, Ohio, I don't think the word impressive is strong enough to describe it.
It's absolutely beautiful. The fact that, one, it's homegrown and it's grown with the sport of fitness the way it has, and it's been able to expand out. Like, you can't look at any gym anywhere and not see something from Rogue. So Rogue is amazing, and they put on a beautiful show here.
And they have built quite an impressive outdoor facility here on their campus in Columbus, Ohio. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler as the men are back out on the field for the second of 8 events. This one called the Mule.
And it's pure CrossFit. I mean, it's 21-15-9. There you go. Start off that way with some heavy deadlifts and then burpee pull-ups. And I like the fact that it's burpee pull-up, not just a burpee, not just a pull-up. So it just tweaks it just enough. I think it's a beautiful setup.
And a little history behind this one as well, as it kind of dipping into CrossFit's past to come up with this.
Well, anytime you have a 21-15-9, you're always going to have that. But they've had 21-15-9. They've had deadlifts. They've had and burpees put together. But I love the way that it's constructed. And, you know, the fact that Josh Bridges was one of the guys that kind of put this together and tested it up is beautiful. And he'll explain later why they did what they did. 2
heats in event 2. And the man right now who leads the race for that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games will be in lane 2, and that is Chandler Smith, as he finished 8th in the opening event.
Now, one of the things with Chandler, he's one of the strongest guys out there. He's got the highest 1-rep max deadlift of all of these athletes on the field. Not that it's about the 1-rep max, but you know he's got that power, and he just has, I mean, this guy's a soldier. He's an Army guy, so he's got tenacity, and he's going to come out firing because he wants to make it to the games.
Deadlifts and burpee pull-ups. In the second of 8 events for the men, known as the Mule, 315 pounds on the barbell. And we talked about Chandler Smith, and he's at the top of your screen. And it was that regionals performance of his back in 2016 where he just ripped 405 off the floor multiple times. That really put him on the map.
Well, like, is that 315 pounds or is that 135 pounds? Look at the way he operates, just so strong. And that's exactly what these athletes have to do. If you want to do well in this particular event, you need to really push those deadlifts. It's going to be important. And you have to go unbroken, unless you're going to have very short breaks. But those that can go unbroken are going to win.
There's Chandler Smith was first to the burpee pull-ups. They have to do 21, and they can jump into the pull-up. They have to just get their chin over the bar, but they are able to use that upward momentum to help with that. Any grip that they want to employ.
Now, for those keys we talked about, you have to hammer those deadlifts. You need to go unbroken. That's going to be important. If you're not going unbroken, you're just going to get lost in the pack. But the other part is that bar grab. You don't want to have to jump up and look at the bar every single time. You want to try to just go right out of your jump on that burpee and use that momentum to get up and on that bar as fast as you can. You don't have to have a dead hang on that pull-up, so get that jump so you're not having to pull. And just get moving. Find that rhythm.
91 total repetitions as Street Horner's working through his first set of 21 burpee pull-ups. Chandler Smith is through 32 and counting of those 91 repetitions. As the number in the white box will indicate how many repetitions that the athlete has completed. Street Horner already going to the CrossFit Games. So Chandler Smith, the next closest man to him in the overall standings who hasn't qualified for the CrossFit Games as an individual is Rasmus Anderson, but he's already going on a team. So Colton Mertens is 20 points back coming into this event. So Mertens has to start tracking down Chandler Smith if he wants to earn that invite, and Mertens is in this heat.
But I love that Chandler is doing. You see him, he takes a second, looks up, and drops immediately down to his burpee. Great way to use the momentum, use what his body's already doing, and use the gravity to your benefit.
Chandler Smith is your leader. He will move back now for his set of 15 deadlifts at 315 pounds. That's Street Horner getting ready, and Adrian Moonweiler is there as well. This is your leader in this heat right now, Chandler Smith, and he is well ahead of Colton Mertens, the next closest man to him in the overall standings, who has yet to earn an invitation to the CrossFit Games, and he is easily through that set of 15. Meanwhile, Mertens is just done with his set of 21 burpee pull-ups, and now he will start his set of 15. Mertens is one of the only guys in this heat, along with Adrian Moonweiler, who's even been to the games before. He was on a team in 2018. He was with CrossFit Kilo. They finished 19th that year.
Great movement on those deadlifts. A lot of times you'll see athletes, especially when it's heavier, they have a relatively high rep. They'll short that by keeping their shoulders in front of the bar. You see him getting his shoulders back every time, legs are locked out. There's Chandler doing his thing over the left side of your screen, dropping immediately down to the ground. So he's changing where his rest segment would be, which I think is awesome. Rest before you do the jump, and then make the down into the burpee, boom, make that the full movement.
Mertens is now done with his set of 15 deadlifts, and he is back on to the burpee pull-ups. But Chandler Smith is through 69 of those 91 repetitions, now 70. And then a final set of 9 deadlifts, 9 more burpee pull-ups, and then a final sprint to the finish line to close out his event.
And what's crazy, Chandler, even on those pull-ups, I mean, he wasn't really using a whole lot of his body. I mean, there's nothing to say that you can't use kipping, you can't use your legs, and the old school CrossFit way of kind of frogging those legs up to your chest to get some movement.
Now Chandler Smith will probably just go unbroken on these 9. He's trying to hold off Colton Mertens in this heat. In the next heat, another man he's got to hold off, and that's Ben Smith. Ben Smith is just 20 points back of Chandler Smith after one event. 9 final burpee pull-ups for Chandler Smith as he looks to set the time to beat with 1 heat remaining.
Man, he looks strong. This is a great, you talk about different events, if they're made for someone or not. I really want to say that this is designed for him. It's right in his wheelhouse. Very powerful athlete on those deadlifts. Just moves smooth. You know, they say that slow is smooth and smooth is fast, and that's exactly what these burpee pull-ups look like for Chandler.
So 1 more pull-up for Chandler, and then he will run to the finish line. So Chandler Smith is going to take the opening heat. Smith sliding across the finish line, 5:22.2 seconds.
Wow.
And now we'll have to see where Colton Mertens winds up. Mertens, 13th overall. He has 20 total points, 24 points back of Chandler Smith. Street Horner is now your leader on the field. He is done. Horner, 14th overall in the World Wide Open, so a man who has already qualified for the CrossFit Games. He is in. .529.28 is going to be the official time for Chandler Smith. Now Adrian Moonweiler, another Games veteran, looking to make his 3rd trip to Madison, Wisconsin. And he will be doing that after qualifying in the World Wide Open. And he is in. Now Dylan Martin, he looks to make up some ground on the field that is chasing Chandler Smith for that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. And here comes Colton Mertens. So Dylan Martin will be able to pick up some ground on that man, as we have 6 events remaining after this. Jake Berman on to his final set of 9 burpee pull-ups. Berman looking for his first trip to the CrossFit Games. Had a really solid Worldwide Open, 39th, so just outside of that final cut line. Been to the regionals 4 times, twice on a team, twice as an individual. Best finish as an individual, 16th at the Atlantic Regional. That was back in 2017. Berman is done, and he will make his way to the finish line. And he is across. That's Jacob Pfaff, the 2-time regionals athlete. Now Jake Fry is in. That leaves Casper Gammelmark as the only man left on the field. He's 24th in the Worldwide Open. Still a little bit of mud left on the field. We had some pretty heavy rains a couple of nights ago, but things have dried out
a little bit.
Decently.
A little bit. At least we know where he was touching every single time. You can definitely tell.
Definitely make sure that that rep counts. And Gammelmark is done. And he will have to get himself across the finish line to close out his event. And that'll do it for the opening heat of the Mule. And it's Chandler Smith. 5:29.28 seconds. As he looks to keep himself solidly in the top 10 in the overall standings.
And he did exactly what I thought he would. The deadlifts were absolutely not an issue. He hammered every single set unbroken, and not just making it through, but hammering all the way through. Now these burpee pull-ups, what I loved what he did was he let him go from the pull-up all the way down to the burpee, which right here is Steve Horner's kind of breaking that up. He'll do the pull-up and then stop. And then that makes it 2 reps rather than like 1 rep. With Chandler, he would just drop straight to the ground, come right off that ground into that next pull-up, and he was able to keep that tempo the whole time. That's where the rest was, and then get himself across the finish line. This was the event he needed. It was made for him, and he did exactly what he needed. Great job, Chandler.
Chandler Smith, the only man to go sub-6 in that opening heat, 5:29.28 seconds, looking to keep himself solidly inside the top 10 in the overall standings, and he is with Rory McKernan.
Chandler, since we saw you at the 2016 Atlantic Regional, when I see heavy deadlifts, I think about you. Why are you so good at these particular movements?
I think with wrestling, right, it's a lot of picking dudes up from the ground, and that's my background, right? For 10 years, all I did was pick dudes up, not talk to girls, and then do a lot of sprawls, which is basically the same thing as a burpee. So this workout, I saw this one, I was like, nice, something I'm halfway decent at. So pumped I had it.
I love it. And on social media, you've been pretty open about the fact that sometimes you get into your own head, you lack confidence, or you're not happy with your performance. How are you feeling about your performance so far in the competition?
Feeling like we're a quarter of the way through the competition. So as much as I almost want to let some positivity seep in, I say that for Dex and the coaches and everybody like to pump me up, but for me, I'm still like got a lot of work to do. So.
Lastly, any shout-outs for the U.S. Army? I know you're a proud representative.
U.S. Army Warrior Fitness Team. I'm here representing them. So I'm thankful that they gave me the chance to come out here and get the chance to represent. That's kind of, you can always push a little bit more when you know you got soldiers at home or abroad or whatever watching. So I'm just trying to represent for the boys as much as I can, and girls.
Thank you, Chandler.
Chandler Smith leaving the field with a heat win. 1 heat remains in the Mule. We will have it for you in just a moment here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. The second of 8 events for the men continues here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational in Columbus, Ohio. It is the Mule. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler. After one event, this is where we stand. Cole Sager leading the race to win the whole thing. Chandler Smith came into this event leading the race to earn that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games, and we just saw him put up an impressive performance in that opening heat. Gets the win in the heat, 5:29.28 seconds. One of the men trying to pry that invite away from him right now will be Ben Smith. More on him in just a second, but just to refresh your memory on what we're taking on here, 21:15.9 deadlifts and burpee pull-ups.
It is pure CrossFit, old school CrossFit. I love the way it's set up, and this is one of those events, and the weights and the movements are set in a certain way that you can't go slow. And if you go slow, you're going to lose. Granted, we know that it's a race, but this is one where you don't want to pace. You have to get yourself moving, and you got to push it.
Let's send it down to Rory McCurden, who is on the field with more on event 2.
Sean, Bill, this is something you barely ever say if you're a CrossFit athlete. It kind of pays to be tall in this one because it's a standard height on the bar. You don't have to go into that dead hang, so I'm seeing it as an advantage. I am picking Lucas Hogberg and Rasmus Andersson, the tall boys in this heat. They're also strong. Keep your eyes on the men from Europe.
Thank you, Ro. 10 men in this second of 2 heats. And we mentioned Ben Smith coming into this thing. He has yet to qualify for the CrossFit Games, and he's trying to chase down Chandler Smith to pry that invite away from him right now.
Well, and with Ben, these are movements that he's great at, but he's got that experience. But if you want to talk about experience, I'm going to be looking at someone like Scott Panchik. This guy has been the most consistent CrossFitter across the board. No, he's not been on the podium, but he's always so strong. And these are movements that he's great with.
Second and final heat of event 2 is underway. The second of 4 events we will do today. The second of 8 total events in this competition. And it is Chandler Smith who has the time to beat at 5:29.28 seconds. 91 total reps in this event.
Ooh, we have a break there. Now that's a little interesting. I wouldn't expect to see him break. Now, not to say that it's bad as long as you can keep the tempo, or if you're deciding with the strategy being, I'm going to try to make it up on the burpee pull-ups. But I think if you really want to get going, you need to go unbroken on all of them.
There's Matt Fraser, who is first done with his 21. Pat Vellner is right behind him. Noah Olson is in 3rd place. And here comes Scott Panchik. Willie George is also done. Travis Mayer is onto his burpee pull-ups. First set of 21, again 91 total reps, and it's Travis Mayer who is through 25, now 26 of those 91 repetitions.
One of the things we didn't talk about, we saw some of the wet marks on some of the athletes in the last heat. We didn't think about your hands are wet now also. So Pat Vellner, when he went to jump up on the bar, he actually slid off and didn't even get his first rep. You can kind of look down at his hands and be like, oh, that is mud on my hands. So that's another thing they have to contend with, not just on the pull-up, but also on the deadlift.
Travis Mayer, he is heading back to the CrossFit Games. Finished 15th in the World Wide Open. You'll be seeing him in Madison. Matt Fraser on the right of your screen is battling with him for the lead here in this heat. Fraser threw 36 of the 91 repetitions and has started to pull ahead of Travis Mayer.
Look at the tempo of Matt Fraser. So earlier, Roy was talking about height being an issue. I think technically, yeah, that's true, but look at the tempo that Matt's able to move. So yeah, he maybe has to jump a little higher. We saw that in the games when he was right next to Brent Fikowski, where Brent didn't have to jump up at all to touch the band, and Matt did. But it's not slowing him down. The numbers are short enough, that 21:59, where he can really push the tempo, and it's not having an effect on him at all.
So Matt Fraser back to the barbell. He will begin his set of 15 deadlifts at 315 pounds. And Mayer and Olson also done.
And he's about 30 seconds ahead of what Chandler was doing at that first set of 21.
Noah Olson on the left of your screen, getting set for his second round of deadlifts, and Pat Vellner is back on the barbell as well. Fraser continuing to work now through 57 of the 91 repetitions, 248.5 seconds. He got done with those deadlifts. Total on the clock, and now 15 burpee pull-ups. So Matt Fraser pulling ahead of the pack as Pat Vellner is really the only man with him right now. Vellner is in the middle of your screen. Now on the right. in those greenish-gray shorts. Vellner finishing second to Matt Fraser last year at the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. And now it looks like Vellner and Fraser dead even here for the lead.
And I love the tempo that Pat is showing on these burpees, not stopping at all. You know, I wouldn't pick Pat to be a super strong athlete, and every time I say that, he always blows my mind with the feats of strength that he does. But he was hammering those deadlifts no problem at all, and then just moving non-stop on those burpee pull-ups. Look at that. Great tempo. There's no stop. He's very mechanical as he's doing those.
Fraser and Vellner separated by about a rep. Ben Smith is on his set of 15 deadlifts. Now remember, Ben Smith has got to worry about Chandler Smith. That's the main guy on his radar right now. And Chandler Smith's time of 5:29.28 seconds is the mark to beat. And Ben Smith came into this event 20 points back of Smith. So he's got to beat that time if he wants to gain ground. And now Vellner and Fraser back on the barbell for the final time. Fraser gets to work first.
Ooh.
Break for Fraser. Vellner just about a rep behind. Fraser's done. Vellner is done.
Oh, man. Here
9 burpee pull-ups remaining for Matt Fraser and Pat Vellner, and it's Fraser just ahead of Vellner. Fraser creeping closer to that mark of 91. Vellner's about a rep behind him.
Oh, my gosh.
Now 3 to go for both Fraser and Vellner. Vellner is starting to pull even. Fraser and Vellner with one more. And they are off at the same time, and now a sprint to the finish, but Fraser with a no rep, so it's Patrick Vellner who's gonna get the event win and lock up 100 points. Fraser will take second in the heat as Chandler Smith's time is gonna stand for second. So Fraser with third place, and he will lock up 80 points for the second straight time.
Wow, that was a fun race.
So a critical no rep for Matt Fraser allows Pat Vellner to edge him out for the second straight time here at the Rogue Invitational, and now Lucas Hogberg will come across. The Hogberg, his time will be good enough for fourth in the event, and Travis Mayer is across. Noah Olson trying to hold off Cole Sager. He will as he closes out his event. Ben Smith is on his set of 9 deadlifts.
And did you see how much time there was? He just waited and waited and waited. And I'm not sure if that's an injury thing, a tired thing, but he's really struggling with that 315.
And Scott Panchik just came across the finish line, so this is good news for Chandler Smith, as Ben was trying to catch him in the overall standings, but Chandler Smith that is going to increase his lead as Willie George is across. Remember, Chandler Smith is the guy right now who hangs on to that invite from this event to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. 9 burpee pull-ups now for Ben Smith. He and Rasmus Anderson both on their final sets.
Oh, wow. I mean, I know that he told Rory earlier that he's behind the ball in his training a little bit, which I totally understand. And this has got to be frustrating for him because he's not one to shut down and slow down, especially on a 21:15.9.
So Rasmus Anderson is in, and Ben Smith is the only man left on the field. He is now done with his final 9 burpee pull-ups, and he will get across the finish line. But Chandler Smith will increase his lead over that man when it comes to earning the invite from the 2019 Rogue Invitational, as Pat Vellner, for the second straight event, edges out Matt Fraser after Fraser got hit with a critical no rep. And Pat Vellner unofficially will be sitting atop the overall standings after 2 events.
So we knew that this was going to be all about those deadlifts and the speed that you can carry on those deadlifts and then how consistent you're going to be on those burpee pull-ups. We saw Ben Smith coming out of the gate hot, but then breaking right away. And I was thinking, okay, maybe that was strategy. As it turns out, it looks like that was more just where his training is right now. It's good for him to know. Matt Fraser looked strong. No problem on the deadlifts. We knew that that wouldn't be an issue. Pat Vellner right on the right hand of your screen right next to him. But then we saw Matt start to slow down. He actually had a break on the deadlifts. He actually took a break on the burpee pull-ups and then even got called with that no rep, coming into that last round. But Pat Vellner, solid all the way through. Every single set unbroken. We see Matt break there. Then they were basically rep for rep on those burpees. And just like what Vellner does, nonchalant, head is down, doing his work. Matt tried to race it a little bit, got called back on that no rep. Pat Vellner gets the win. And we talked earlier, this could be exactly what Pat Vellner needs, is that belief that I can beat you. You could say no rep or whatever, but I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
It was pretty clear that Matt Fraser did not get his chin over the bar on that pull-up. He was called back, and Pat Vellner now, for the second straight event, edging out Matt Fraser, and he will pick up 100 points. But Chandler Smith, he will get 90 points courtesy of his second place finish. Let's send it down to the field to Rory McKernan.
Pat Vellner, we've seen you have some epic battles with Matt Fraser, another one here in this event. How aware were you of his placement, and was that pushing you along?
I think it always is a little bit motivating, and I think you can't be unaware of where Matt is. Like it or not, you're going to hear his name announced, and when you're in the lane right next to him, you can't really help but know what he's up to. So it definitely helps to push you, especially, this is an event that I'm stronger in, so it's kind of nice to have the shoe on the other foot every now and then and be able to pull him along.
Yeah. Well, and both of you, as well as a number of men in the field, are already qualified for the CrossFit Games. So how much stock do you put in your performance here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational?
It's fun because of that. It's a very different atmosphere. This whole competition has a very kind of all-star game attitude around it. And for the amount of low stakes there are for a games berth for a lot of us, it's still, everybody's got a big ego and nobody wants to give up any steps over somebody else. So we all want to beat each other. Nobody wants to slip up, especially with a couple months to the games. It's time to posture up and show people what you're made of.
Well, good for you with 100 points in event number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Vellner.
Two events down for the men, and it's Pat Vellner 2 straight times edging out Matt Fraser, and as a result, he is your overall leader with 6 events remaining. The women up next in Columbus, Ohio. Day 1 of the 2019 Rogue Invitational continues. The men are done with event 2. The women are up next here in Columbus, Ohio. This is where we stand after one event, as Tia Toomey is your overall leader after winning the opening event. Then it's nothing but Europeans until we get to Brooke Wells in 6th place. But in 10th place is Lauren Suver, who right now would receive the invite from this event. The 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Margot Alvarez, another athlete who has yet to qualify, sits in 11th. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler. We have some classic CrossFit coming up, and we're only through one event, but so far the usual suspects are doing what we figured they would be doing.
We knew that what they would do, and you come into an event like this, a 21:59, we're going to see them doing what they always do, crushing it, and it's going to be a fun, fast race to watch.
Event number 2 is known as the Mule, and it is a very familiar rep scheme. 21, 15, and 9, 2 movements, the deadlifts and the burpee pull-ups. Let's send it down to Rory McKernan, who is on the field with one of the men responsible for this event, Josh Bridges.
Yeah, Sean, there's not just nostalgia in the Legends competition, it's also in the programming. Josh Bridges, a legend of his own right, had some say in that programming. Tell us where the idea for the Mule came from.
Yeah, the Mule was Bill's idea. It was a throwback to the 2008 sectional, and we upped the weight a little bit, and tried to even it out a little more with the burpee, adding the burpee into the pull-up action of it. So I think it's a great workout. It's fast, it's dirty, it's hard, it's nasty, and I think these guys and gals are crushing it. So it's awesome to watch.
You're a man who's been around the sport forever, so I got to ask you, what do you think of that Legends competition?
Oh my gosh, man! Miko Salo, Rich Browning, Dan Bailey, Tommy Hackenbrook, Becca Voigt, Sam Briggs, Tanya Wagner. Are you kidding me? Like,
what more could you ask for?
You can't ask for anything else. Like, true legends of the sport.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Ro, and thank you, Josh Bridges. Be great to be seeing him throw down this weekend as well.
Totally. And he would if he didn't have a knee issue.
The first of 2 heats for the women. And Danny Spiegel in lane number 4. She's looked impressive in a lot of the sanctioned events that we've seen so far. She's already qualified for the CrossFit Games, and now we're seeing her go up against some of the best in the sport.
Well, coming into this season, she was basically known as a good regional athlete, always sitting in the top 10, but never really getting to get her own wedding out there to the games. But an impressive season and going toe-to-toe. You can tell she's really maturing as an athlete, and it's time for her to really put it together. I think she's having an unbelievable preseason to the year.
21, 15, and 9 of deadlifts at 225 pounds and burpee pull-ups.
We talked earlier about what the keys are to this event and what you really need to be doing, and you have to go as unbroken as possible on these sets of your burpees. You have to go fast, and if you are going to break, it's got to be a fast break. So I would say don't go unbroken, or don't go until you hit that red line. Break early so those rests are quick.
Danny Spiegel is first done along with Brooke Haas and Corrine Schrum, but she's getting called back to do one final deadlift. Rachel Garibay, who has games experience. She was on that Don't Stop team that finished 6th overall last year at the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games, now looking to go as an individual.
Now here's the thing, guys and girls. The girls out here are doing the exact same height on that burpee box jump. So there are risers out there that they can use. You see some of the women out there are doing that, but what that does is they have to do their burpee in front of the riser, step onto the riser, and then do the pull-up at that point. So it does slow these athletes down, and if they choose not to use the riser, then they have to actually jump that extra 6 inches. So they need to kind of decide on the fly which is going to be the best move for them.
That's Colleen Lahane on the right. She had a real tough time in the opening event, so she's looking to make up some ground here. Again, it's Lauren Suver who comes in 10th place overall, and she would receive the invite right now if things ended, as she is 10th overall in the standings. She has 32 points. And Margot Alvarez is the closest woman to Suver in the standings. She's 4 points back. But Alvarez has said that she would decline the invite. So Suver looking pretty good, as she is ahead of a lot of the women who are in this heat who are trying to track her down for that invite. Danny Spiegel still your leader. She's through 35 and counting of those 91 total repetitions.
And one thing that Spiegel's doing is you see a nice kip, so big back swing into the kip. Utilize that body as much as you can. Again, the women are going to be a little bit slower because they have to either deal with stepping up to that riser or they have to jump up higher. So the fact that she's using her body to generate some momentum and save, it may be a little bit slower, but in this particular race, it works perfect.
That's Brooke Haas, who is onto her burpee pull-ups, her first set. She's trying to track down Danny Spiegel. Brooke Haas just about a rep behind Spiegel, who is on her final burpee pull-up. And now Spiegel working her way back to the barbell to start her set of 15 deadlifts at 225 pounds. Brooke Haas and Corrine Schrum right behind her. Schrum is also making her way to the barbell, as she and Spiegel tied now for the lead. And here comes Brooke Haas. Katie Trombetta in the middle of your screen in the black pants. She's working her way back to the barbell.
And Katie Schrim up at the top of your screen. I like the fact that she took a break. I think she had her plan, changed it up a little bit, but all these ladies I think are deciding to break. They need to make sure that when they break, they aren't pushing that limit too much. So we're down to your sets of 15. So if it's going to be sets of 5, it's got to be sets of 5 and a short rest. If you're not going to be able to take a short rest, then it's sets of 3 all the way through so you can continue to move. You don't want to sit there and rest for too long.
Dani Speegle is done with her set of 15. Brooke Haas is done as well, so Haas keeping herself in second place, and it's Corrine Schrum who is now in third place in this opening heat, the first of 2 heats, the second of 8 total events that the individuals will do here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational.
Nice big kick by Speegle. She really kick her feet, pop her hips.
Speegle qualified out of the World Wide Open. Really impressive performance for her. She's the U.S. national champion and 4th in the world. And she will be making her first individual appearance at the CrossFit Games this year. Now through 65 of the 91 total repetitions. Brooke Haas sits in second. Corrine Schrum is in third. Fisa Goffi and Katie Trombetta rounding out the top 5. That is Colleen Lehane, who's trying to make up for that performance that she had in the opening event where she just got stuck on the opening rope climbs.
And she's got to be feeling that a little bit in her arms, all those extra attempts on the rope climbs going into these pull-ups. But she's got that nice kip as well, same deal.
That's Lauren Suber, who came into this event in 10th place overall. Never been to the regionals before, never been to the games. Impressive in the open, though, this year. 61st worldwide. Dani Speegle, meanwhile, is back to the barbell for her final set of 9 deadlifts at 225 pounds and then 9 final burpee pull-ups before she has to run across the finish line.
Wow.
I mean, it's Speegle making that look like an empty barbell. She'll have no problem with that. Here comes Corrine Schrum behind her. She just left the screen on your left. Fisa Goffi is done, and she'll start her set of 9. And Dani Speegle just demolished that barbell, and now 9 burpee pull-ups for her. Fisa Goffi in the red top, who is also already qualified after she took 24th in the World Wide Open. Corrine Schrum has moved into second place. Good news for her as she's trying to track down Lauren Suber in the overall standings. And right now, she is ahead of Suber. Speegle now with just 4 pull-ups remaining and then a final sprint across the finish line as she will set the early mark to beat here. Schrum is 4 reps back of her. Fisa Goffi in the red is also 4 reps back. Brooke Haas, who was in second place for the first couple of rounds, is now falling back to 4th. And Rachel Garibay sits in 5th. And there goes Dani Speegle, who will win the opening heat of event number 2. Speegle in 7:39.43 unofficially. Corrine Schrum is done, and this will be big for her as Lauren Suber is still on the barbell for her set of 9 deadlifts. The more athletes who get between Schrum and Suber, the more points Schrum can make up. Schrum came in 18th place overall, just 4 total points. 28 points back of Suber, but the way this scoring system is with a bigger gap between spaces, she can easily make that up in one event. And now Suber is done with her 9 deadlifts, and she will move back to the pull-up bar as Brooke Haas is coming across the finish line. Now Katie Trombetta is in. Rachel Garibay across the finish line. Colleen Lahane, she is still out there with Nikki Matarazzo. Matarazzo is on the right, Lahane is on the left. And Lauren Suver, who came in 10th place overall, she is also still out there. And Suver's on the bottom left of your screen. Lauren Suver's in danger here of falling out of the lead for that invite, as she is done and gets herself across the finish line to close out her event. So 9:40.05 unofficially for Suver. Here comes Colleen Lahane, looks to improve on her standings, and she will do so with that finish. We have one heat to go here, and Nikki Matarazzo is back on the barbell. She's at the bottom of your screen, and Holly Henderson at the top, the only two athletes left. 2 minutes before we hit the 12-minute time cap. Holly Henderson, a three-time regionals athlete. Her best finish as an individual was way back in 2014 when she finished 21st at the South Central Regional. Less than 90 seconds to go before we hit the 12-minute time cap. So Matarazzo and Henderson trying to get inside that 12-minute time cap and finish this event.
You know, it's amazing when you see events like this and athletes struggling. You almost wonder, okay, if you're planning on going to the games, how the heck this should not be a problem for you? I mean, like, you should have the strength to move this weight. You might be a great athlete on the body weight stuff, but to have a lofty goal of being, I want to make it to the games, the strength that you need nowadays is through the roof. So, you know, I know a lot of people just want to make it, and that's great, but you have to sometimes be realistic about what it is you're trying to step into. And these weights, these movements, these rep schemes are no joke, and the level is high.
And Holly Henderson now is in, and that leaves Nikki Matarazzo as the only athlete left, and she has 20 seconds to finish her final reps and get inside that 12-minute time cap, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen for her.
Well, and even the pull-ups. Look at the way Nikki's doing her pull-ups. These are strict pull-ups. Why do a strict pull-up if you don't have to? Use your whole body. So she jumps up, and it's a dead hang pull-up.
A little bit of a kip in there, but you're right. She's certainly not using a full kip to get her chin up and over that pull-up bar, and that'll be the time cap, as Nikki Matarazzo is unable to get across the finish line inside the 12 minutes. But Danny Spiegel right now has your time to beat 7 minutes, 39.43 seconds, and we knew the barbell was going to be no problem for her.
Well, she's just such a strong athlete, but I think in general, the athletes that did well were the ones that could move that barbell and were smart about their tempo. Danny looked great on the deadlifts, but when the whole group got to the pull-up bar, you could see the women were trying to decide, do I need to use the riser? Do I not need to use the riser? Then it was, which is going to be the best play for me? So we saw half the women out there using it, half the women out there not using it. But what I like with Danny Spiegel is she chose not to use it, fell into her rhythm, and then kept that rhythm the whole time. So she was able to keep that tempo the entire event, all the way from start to finish. When she got to that last set of 9 for the deadlifts, I mean, look at that. Rapid fire reps. Unbroken. I think she was just trying to be smart, be conservative to get to that last round, and then once you get to that last round, hammer it. And she looked amazing. This finish here was real similar to what I saw her do in the Wodapalooza. Just once she gets a workout or an event that's in her wheelhouse, she smashed it, and that's exactly what she did.
Danny Spiegel certainly impressive in that first of 2 heats. 7 minutes, 39.43 seconds. Green Shrum will take second, and Fee Sagafi is third. Let's go down to the field. Rory McKernan is with your U.S. national champion out of the World Wide Open.
So, Danny, I asked what you changed. You said you changed everything this year. Can you give me the wave tops or some of the highlights of what you focused the most on?
Big thing was changing nutrition, changing the way I was training. I had a tendency to run from things I wasn't good at. I don't like being bad at things, so I would be like, oh, I'll hit that another day, but I have a coach now who's like, every single day we're gonna hit something that you suck at. So that was a big thing, and just mindset coming out and just saying, okay, I can't compete with these other ladies.
You've done 5 other sanctional events. You haven't finished worse than 5th. What's your goal here with the most competitive athletes in the world?
Same thing, always just go out and win. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Dani Speegle.
Dani Speegle walking out the field with the time to beat with 1 heat remaining, 7:39.43 seconds. She is playing with some house money here. She has already qualified for the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Thanks for staying with us here, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler, and great to have you back in the booth. 2009 CrossFit Games champion, Tanya Wagner. How you feeling after that first event?
This is super fun. This is one of the best events ever.
It looked like a challenge there. I know you got hung up on the rope climbs a little bit, but I'm proud of you for pushing through that. How are you feeling when you were up there?
A little peer pressure to keep the vest on, but it was a lot of fun. I'm just excited to see this event here.
Second heat here of the Mule is underway, and your overall leaders are out there on the field. Dani Speegle again has the time to beat at 7:39.43 seconds. 91 total repetitions here. It's Annie Thorisdottir, who is through 16 of her first set of 21 deadlifts here at 225 pounds.
And we talked about what you should be doing on these deadlifts, and if you can go unbroken, go for it, or you need to take really short breaks. So Annie went unbroken. Brooke Wells took a break.
Annie just got hit with a no rep. She's choosing to use that riser now, moving it out of her way, moving it forward.
Being in the back with these ladies, I got a chance to hear some of them saying, like, this was the movement right here that they were concerned about. Just how's that going to feel being in there? Your hands are all sandy, that sand down there. It's really grippy. I mean, it makes a difference on your grip because it's not regular dirt. It's pretty sandy, so there's a grit there, too.
Now Sarah Sigmundsdottir is your leader as Brooke Wells, and Annie Thorisdottir are all trading the lead back and forth. Laurel Horvath and Tia Toomey also on that lead pace as well. Every woman in this heat, except for Margot Alvarez, has already qualified for the CrossFit Games. Thorisdottir through 32 of the 91 reps. Brooke Wells.
Now, one of the things with that riser in the front, you can see Brooke, she's being pretty smart about it. She's touching her upper stomach, lower chest. They're saying your chest needs to go down, but because they have to move back, I think the judges are actually being a little bit forgiving with how low they're going down. If they're not using the riser at all, then you can see them, they're actually looking for that, for them going all the way down. I think it's great because it helps with that jump, and she's staying real close to that mat. I think that's smart.
You see her pace, just a great tempo, how she steps up, steps back. Every single rep looks the same, so she's finding a good rhythm.
Yeah.
As Brooke Wells continues to go through her first set of 21 burpee pull-ups, Tia Toomey is in the lead now with Sarah Sigmundsdottir. Annie Thorisdottir about a rep back. .739.43 from Dani Speegle's your top time, and it's Tia Toomey and Annie Thorisdottir and Sarah Sigmundsdottir all done at the same time, and now Carrie Pierce moving back to the barbell for the set of 15, and it's Toomey right to work along with Sarah Sigmundsdottir. Toomey takes a break. She's through 50 of the 91 total repetitions. Sigmundsdottir is now in the lead, along with Annie Thorisdottir. Here goes Annie Thorisdottir and Sarah Sigmundsdottir back for their set of 15 burpee pull-ups. You were out there on this field earlier. How hot is it down there?
It's really hot out there. The sun, as soon as we stepped outside, it really is really hot. So definitely plays a factor. And he's wearing pants, so I was wondering what her thinking was for that, because it's so hot out there. But, you know, not really sure why she is, but it does make a factor. I don't think it's a big deal for this event specifically. It's not so long.
I'm just surprised of the lack of kipping that we're seeing in a lot of the pull-ups. I know that you're jumping, but you can still jump into that and get a good swing with your legs. I mean, unless you're so tall that you're jumping and your arms are already past the 90 degrees, so it's not much of a pull. I get that, and Annie is very close to that. But everyone else, I see a lot of like dead hang pull-ups, and I'm really shocked by that.
Well, yeah, especially going back to the bar for the deadlifts, though. I mean, that's grip, it's lats, it's the same muscles, so it really is.
Catherine Davidsdottir with a little bit of a kip, but it's Annie Thorisdottir who's kind of jumping into her pull-up and making it a half strict one. Seems to be working so far. She is in the lead through 69 now of the 91 total repetitions. She's holding off Sarah Sigmundsdottir and Tia Toomey for the lead.
The funny part is, you know, these ladies do so many pull-ups. We watch them do volume, so it's kind of funny to see them, the fatigue, and see how they have to work for the pull-ups. It's not something we're used to seeing.
Annie Thorisdottir back to the barbell for her final set of 9 deadlifts. She is ahead of the woman on the bottom right of your screen, Sarah Sigmundsdottir. Now Tia Toomey is done as well. And Annie Thorisdottir right to work on her final set of 9. She's on the left, Sarah Sigmundsdottir is on the right. Thorisdottir is done, and she will be the first woman to begin her final set of 9 burpee pull-ups, and Sarah Sigmundsdottir trying to stay ahead of Tia Toomey on this final set of 9 deadlifts, and Thorisdottir meanwhile getting right to work. Catherine Davidsdottir, bottom left of your screen, onto her final set of 9. And here come Brooke Wells and Sarah Sigmundsdottir on the far right of your screen. They are on their final sets of 9 burpee pull-ups. And all of these women look like they're gonna crush Dani Spiegel's top time of 7:39.43 seconds.
Now there's that leapfrog kipping that I was talking about. That's fine. If you don't want to get a full backswing, pull those knees up and really get some momentum with those legs.
Why not use your hips?
3 to go for Annie Thorisdottir, and then a final sprint across the finish line.
And Annie's cadence is just unreal.
Thorisdottir is done, and she'll have to sprint across the finish line, getting some directions from her judge. But Annie Thorisdottir is going to take event number 2 and put 100 points in her pocket. 6:29.45, more than a minute ahead of Dani Spiegel. Here comes Brooke Wells. She's going to take second place, and Sarah Sigmundsdottir will finish third. Tia Toomey is done. Toomey's going to take fourth, and now Catherine Davidsdottir looking to take 5th place. And so far, every woman who has finished in this heat has finished ahead of Dani Spiegel's prior top time from the earlier heat. Carrie Pierce is across. Here comes Laura Horvath as she is done with her final set of 9 burpee pull-ups. Now Christy Aramo is done. Aramo is in. And we still have 10 seconds to go before we hit Dani Spiegel's top time, and Kristen Holta is going to get in inside of that as well. And this is having an effect on that race for that invite, because as these women come in and push the rest of the field down the leaderboard, those women in the prior heats are scoring fewer points.
I know.
Now Margot Alvarez, the only woman left on the field, and she's going to be the only woman not to beat Dani Spiegel's time.
And that just shows the range that you have between your top level athletes and your qualifying level athletes. I mean, there is such a vast difference in ability and strengths and just how fit they are.
And also managing the nerves when you get out there. It's so different when you get out there in the speed of competition with these ladies, being out there with some of the other ones. It's so hard to kind of keep your composure or even know what that pace looks like, to even feel that in your own training at home. And these ladies have had years of experience at the games. They know each other as well.
Annie Thorisdottir will take the event as she and 8 other women in this heat do a good job of getting in inside Danny Spiegel's top time. It's Thorisdottir with the event win. Brooke Wells will finish in second place, but Thorisdottir overcame that early no rep and then just put the pedal down and hammered this thing.
Well, I mean, you talk about a CrossFitter with a lot of experience, and that's Annie. So she knows exactly what she needs to do on any 21, 15, 9, anything. She found her rhythm, and a lot of the other women were really struggling with how to do their pull-ups or how to set themselves up. You can see, I mean, that was that wetness on the ground. And you see all these ladies coming up and water on their chest and on their knees and on their hands. But Annie's tempo on the deadlifts, great. Wasn't overgoing, wasn't getting into that red zone, and in those burpee pull-ups, did her pull-up, step up, jump, just beautiful tempo, beautiful cadence the entire time. She never looked like she was rushing herself or overexposing herself at any time. Consistent all the way through, and she really had that top-level time from the very beginning all the way through.
And after getting some directions from her judge, she makes it across the finish line, and Iceland Annie is with Rory McCurdy.
All right, Annie, first I got to point out that you've modified your Reebok gear here. How much did the mud on the field actually affect the event?
Not a lot, actually. I thought it was going to be really bad on the pull-up bar, that it would get slippery, but it was fine. It's just one at a time, and I did it with like a strict kip. I knew I didn't want to swing and go up. That makes the grip tired, and then you need to rely more on having dry hands.
Well, you hosted a sanctional this year, but you only got to do a showcase. You didn't get to compete. How hungry have you been to get on the competition floor?
Oh, I've been waiting to compete again. You have no idea. I haven't competed since the games. Like, I need this.
All right, and you would own a spot on that Legends floor if you wanted one, but what are you trying to show people here in this competition in the individual win?
Ooh, that I'm not done yet. I'm still getting better, and my eyes are on that first place. Like, me, Catherine, and Tia, we've all got 2 first-place finishes. Yes, I've maybe been in this for a longer time, but hopefully that's actually going to give me a little bit more of a push. I wanna win so bad.
Well, an event win here is a good start. Ladies and gentlemen, Annie Thorisdottir.
Iceland Annie Thorisdottir takes the event win here for the women in event number 2 of 8. As the individuals will now head inside, we have one more event remaining for the teams in the outdoor stadium here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. We'll have it for you after a quick break.
My name is Rich Froning, 4-time CrossFit Games individual champion, 2-time Affiliate Cup champion. RP has helped a ton with what time to eat, how much to eat, the quality of food I need to get in. I wasn't eating enough, wasn't getting in enough calories. RP has helped to actually show me that I need more food, I need more carbohydrates. I feel a lot better, I feel stronger.
we stop pain, so pain doesn't stop you.
The 2019 Rogue Invitational is presented by Reebok. Reebok's newest Sport the Unexpected campaign celebrates those who defy convention and challenge the status quo. Visit Reebok.com to shop the latest collection. And by Rogue, strength and conditioning equipment that's built to last.
Rogue Fitness in Columbus, Ohio, the site of the 2019 Rogue Invitational. We are through 2 events for the individuals and the teams up next for the second of their 7 events in this competition. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler. Rory McKernan is down on the field. We will be hearing from him in just a moment. But let's get you updated on where we stand after one event. And it's a team that has not yet been invited to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. CrossFit OC3, they sit atop the overall standings after winning the opening event earlier today. 100 points, 10 points up on CrossFit Mayhem Freedom.
Oh, Mayhem and Mayhem, check that out. Gosh.
They just breed excellence down there in Cookeville, Tennessee. Event number 2, we're going to break up into pairs. We're going to do some deadlifts and some burpee pull-ups.
You know, we saw this earlier with the individuals. Now we group these guys together, and all these athletes have seen synchronized movements, and now we get to put that together, and it's going to be fast and furious between the 2 teams.
CrossFit Balance ran into some trouble in the opening event, the Go Ruck, earlier this morning. They have made a change to their roster. More on that. Let's go down to Rory McKernan.
That's right, Sean. Sadly, Elizabeth Perry had a massive laceration and a broken finger from that event. She's been subbed out. Now, the most important detail is that they will be able to continue because they traveled here. However, they will post a score of 0 for all events moving forward. Interesting for the CrossFit community is this. In her stead will be Caitlin Mead, the young lady in the white tank top. She is just a gym member. You won't find any stats on her for competition. She's never done one before. So in the open, we talk about competing with the top athletes in the world. She's really doing it.
Caitlin Mead stepping into some big shoes here. Just the only heat. Here are your teams that are in the field here. CrossFit OC3, your overall leaders. They will be in lane number 6. We are underway, and the male pairs will start first, and they will begin with 21 synchronized deadlifts at 315 pounds.
And right away, I see some of these athletes are already checking into my keys. They want to be focused and fast and follow the leader. Focus means they need to know exactly where everyone is, and they cannot waste time sitting at the top or bottom. Follow the loser means not that anyone's a loser, but you're always going to have one athlete that's going a little bit slower. They're having to work a little bit harder. That's the one that needs to be your tempo. The faster, more able athlete needs to watch them so that they can stay on their tempo the entire race.
CrossFit Mayhem Freedom there through 21 repetitions. CrossFit 417, Jared Stevens with the beard and Tyler Christoffel closest to the camera. They are on their opening set of 21. They currently sit in 5th place overall. They're trying to chase down OC3 and overtake that spot for the invitation from this event.
And 417 looks like they're struggling. I'm not sure what the synchronization issue is with those guys, but both very strong athletes. I would have thought that they would have been able to move that really quick.
Top of your screen in lane 3, that's the Don't Stop Misfit team. They have already earned an invite courtesy of their effort at the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge in Washington, D.C.
And the thing with the Don't Stop team, and we got Travis Williams that in there in the purple shorts is their team captain. This guy, we've already seen what he can do as an individual. We always thought he was a little, and I say this in a most loving way, a little nutty, but the way that he's put teams together and just goes for it is really impressive. Now, the one thing with Don't Stop or any team that he's been on is they are an all-or-nothing team. If they're going to do well in that event, they usually will slam doors on everybody. But at the same time, if there's a lot of communication or there's an issue, a communication issue or something like that, then they usually fail miserably. So I want to see what they're able to do and how they're able to push that.
Rich Ferning and Dre Strom for CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, they are your leaders, just about 1 rep ahead of Don't Stop and CrossFit OC3. So OC3 right now, again, they are the team that would get that invite. They are your overall leaders as long as they hold off all the teams that haven't been invited throughout the rest of this competition. They will get that invite, but we still have a long way to go here. There are 182 total scored reps in this event, and Mayhem Freedom right now is through 40 of those before Dre Strom and Rich Froning will work their way back to the barbells for their set of 15 synchronized deadlifts at 315 pounds.
And one of the things that Mayhem does, I mean, they just practice so much as a team, so they work on that synchronization so often that it's almost second nature. So I just talk about being focused. That's just their everyday. That's their normal, because that's how they train, is being in sync and being tempoed. So it's no wonder these guys are out in the front, out in the lead right now.
But Don't Stop, they are behind Mayhem Freedom. They're in the middle of your screen. It's Travis Williams with his hands on his hips in the purple shorts. That's Team Don't Stop. And then in lane 6, in the black shirt, that's OC3, the pair of Luke Schaefer and Joe Persanti. Ramwad Witt, they are back on the barbell as well. Another team that has already earned an invite to the CrossFit Games. But Rich Froning and Dre Strom, they are your leaders here as they are through their set of 15 deadlifts and now the 15 burpee pull-ups. Don't Stop, they are back for their synchronized burpee pull-ups. Travis Williams and Roy Gamboa. And now Invictus Back Bay, the pair of Tola Moraquino and Craig Kenny. It's Mayhem Freedom, they're still your leaders through 63 of those 182 total repetitions, and this is the only heat of the teams. So they don't have to worry about anybody else in prior heats. They can just see what's going on, and as long as they're staying in front of the pack, they are just fine.
Well, and all they really need to do is, whatever lead that they can get, they're going to bump that in front for the women's team coming up. So, give them a little bit of that time frame. But just look at that synchronization. They literally are moving like shadows of each other. Hips pop up the same way. What's also unique is their burpees are the same way. You can see both their chest comes up first, pop their hips at the same time. It's synchronization, yes, but it's perfect synchronization.
Mayhem Freedom, the duo of Froning and Dre Strom are right next to Mayhem Independence. They were facing each other on those synchronized burpee pull-ups, and now Froning and Strom making their way back for their final set of 9 synchronized deadlifts, 315 pounds. They're through 72 of the 182 total repetitions. After Froning and Strom are done, they will hand off to the pair of Tage Persevich and China Cho. 9 quick reps for Strom and Froning. Now 9 synchronized burpee pull-ups.
Look at that, perfect. And they're just so relaxed. And I think that's one of the things that Rich is able to bring to all of his teams is a sense of calmness on the transition. So you do your work, you know your tempo so that you're just not stopping. And then that walk to the next movement is your recovery, so you get right back to work. You're not going to run over and then stop. You're going to be very, very smart about how you recover and utilize that time as much as possible. And Rich is he's the best in the world at it. And he's got his team following in suit with that.
Strom and Froning are your leaders. They're through 89 of the 182 total repetitions. Next to them, facing them, is Mayhem Independence. They are in second place, and they have not yet earned an invite to the CrossFit Games. They're trying to make up ground on OC3. Strom and Froning are done. That'll bring out Persevich and China Cho. And they have to unload those barbells down to 225 pounds before they can get started. And now here come the pair of Chase Hill and Royce Dunn. They are in for Independence. And Kristen Miller and Ellie Kabourd will now get to work on their opening set of 21 synchronized deadlifts. But it's Tasia Persevich on the left of your screen, China Cho on the right. They got the lead from Froning and Strom, and they are hanging on to it here on their opening set of 21 synchronized deadlifts. Through 101 of the 182 repetitions here in the second of 7 events for the teams at the 2019 Rogue Invitational.
Very smart about how they have those breaks. You can see, I think that both of these teams have the same strategy. They all know what they're supposed to be doing, and they're all being very smart about that. Now, they all train together, so they all know exactly how to do their breaks, when they should do their breaks, and you can see the communication. That was beautiful. Beautiful communication between the two athletes from Independence, knowing when to stop and stopping exactly on the dime.
And Independence, again, is one of those teams that does not have an invite yet to the CrossFit Games. They are making up ground right now on OC3 as the OC3 women have just gotten onto the field. They came in with the overall lead after one event, after they won the Go Ruck event. And Independence looking to chip away at their lead here. In the second of 7 events, they have one more event today, and then they'll have 4 tomorrow. Taylor Williamson and Andrea Nisler in the red tops. They are on their first set of 21 synchronized deadlifts for OC3.
Wow, that's a big set, too. They're going for it.
Woo. And now a break for Williamson and Nisler. That's the pair of Christine Colabrander and Bailey Rail for 417 as they wait for Jared Stevens and Tyler Christoffel. Now they are across. So Colabrander and Rail will get to work on their half of this event. Again, 182 repetitions in Mayhem Freedom. They are your leaders, Tasia Persevich and China Cho, through 122 and counting as they creep closer to that 182 mark. And they are facing the other team from their gym.
This is just like being at home.
The pair of Kristen Miller and Ellie Kabur, CrossFit Mayhem Independence. Now Invictus Back Bay, meanwhile, the pair of Kelsey Keel and Meg Reardon are creeping up.
Well, I do have to say, if you look at Independence, it's Kristen Miller with the black tank top and the short blonde hair. Look how high she has to jump. Look at this big jump. So she's got to work to that every single rep. I mean, that's a lot of extra work that they have to do over what the guys had to do.
And meanwhile, Kabur has left her literally hanging.
And I think that's the plan. Get up there, you do your thing, and then once we're both up, then we can go.
That has slowed them down, and it has allowed CrossFit Invictus Back Bay and CrossFit OC3 to move back into the top 3 into this event. Now OC3, the pair of Taylor Williamson and Andrea Nisler, they have entered a fight for second place in this event with Invictus Back Bay.
Wow, these ladies are moving. Look at that tempo. And I like what Andrea Nisler's doing in the front with the blonde hair. Watch the step. Steps up so it gets her a little closer so she can immediately go to that jump position.
Invictus Back Bay, they are in the green. That's a pair of Kelsey Keel. She has the belt, the dark belt on, and then Meg Reardon is next to her. Now Reardon has already earned an invite as an individual to the CrossFit Games. She did that at the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge when she won that sanctioned event. Leaders are in the upper right. That's the pair of Tasia Persevich and China Cho representing CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. OC3, there on the far right of your screen, the pair of Taylor Williamson and Andrea Nisler. They currently sit in second place. And Invictus Back Bay, they are in third. 182, that's the magic number in CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. They are through 142, now 143 of those reps.
And they're set, I think, are very smart. It's sets of 2, sets of 3, keeping that rest very calculated every single time. Sets of 3, smart move.
Jen Smith and Alexis Johnson for Don't Stop Misfit. They have just gotten on the barbell. They were on the left of your screen, now upper left, as Cho and Persevich for Mayhem Freedom work their way back to the pull-up bar, and they will start their set of 15 burpee pull-ups. And OC3 is right there as well, as Nisler and Williamson have made up some ground, and they are rep for rep with Mayhem Freedom.
It's really interesting. Neither of these teams can see each other, so they can't tell where that other where the other team is. They don't know what tempo they're supposed to be moving. Look at that back-to-back.
This is the fight for the lead. We saw this sort of play out with Vellner and Fraser earlier on in the individual competition. But Persevich and Cho, they're on the left. Williamson and Nisler, they are on the right. And CrossFit OC3 is about a rep ahead of Mayhem Freedom. So good work so far by Williamson and Nisler as they look to win their second straight event of this competition. And the pace still looks pretty steady for both of these pairs.
Yeah, I mean, they really haven't slowed down, but the fact that OC3, the ladies of OC3 have been able to hold that tempo consistently, I mean, there's no break at all. There's no, let me take an extra breath here to kind of compose myself. I mean, they're moving mechanical. They're like pistons up and down on the deadlift. They did the same thing on the deadlift, made a lot of room up there. And then on these burpee pull-ups, same thing.
Williamson and Nisler are done, and they have overtaken the lead from CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. And they will start their set of 9 synchronized deadlifts at 225 pounds. Cho and Persevich are now done. They're on the left. They are chalking up, and they will get set for their final set of 9. But this is huge for OC3. If they can go back-to-back here in the opening events of the Rogue Invitational, that really puts themselves in the driver's seat as far as receiving that invite to the CrossFit Games is concerned.
I saw Taylor Williams right before they started with those deadlift pulls, confirming, okay, how many reps are we going to do? So they knew exactly how many they need to hit. The weird thing about that set of 9 is you really want to do it unbroken. It's almost hard mentally to do that break of 5 and 4. But that's what they decided to do, make sure they had enough gas left in the tank so they can bust through these burpee pull-ups.
And again, not having to race against times in prior heats is huge because you can adjust your pace based on where you are.
You know exactly where you need to be and who you need to be beating. Look at that.
Williamson and Nisler chipping away here, inching closer to that magic number, 182 total repetitions. They will have to sprint across the finish line once they hit 181.
She was able to keep that. That's one of the things, but as long as these teams are watching, if you get ahead, just hang out up there, and that's exactly what Williamson does. Beautiful, very smart to be aware like that.
Williamson and Nisler, and for the second straight time, 100 points for the team out of Davenport, Iowa. OC3 wins their second event of the competition. Persevich and Cho are in second place. And this is going to really help out OC3 because the more teams that have already qualified get in, the more it's going to help OC3. Then Don't Stop and Mayhem Freedom have already qualified. So they are taking valuable points away from those teams that need to earn this invite to get themselves to Madison. The Cho and Persevich are across, and they will take second place in the event. Don't Stop, they are also going to eat up some valuable points as they sit as your leaders on the field right now. The pair of Alexis Johnson and Jen Smith. Jen Smith closest to the camera. And they are 3 reps ahead of Invictus Back Bay. They are a team that is looking to earn an invite, but Mayhem Freedom and Don't Stop are doing OC3 a huge favor right now. And remember, the scoring table is a little different for this event. For the teams, if you win, you get 100. Second place is 90. Third is 80. So there's 20 points right there that are coming off the board that teams like Invictus Back Bay could really use. Jen Smith and Alexis Johnson, they will lock up 3rd place for Don't Stop, as they are greeted by Travis Williams and Roy Gamboa. And that leaves Invictus Back Bay as your leaders on the floor. They came in 44 points back of OC3 for the lead, and that deficit is going to increase after this event. Kelsey Keel and Meg Reardon are done, and they will take 4th place in the event. But they will cede ground to OC3 in that race for the CrossFit Games invite from the 2019 Rogue Invitational. This is Mayhem Independence. Kristen Miller and Ellie Kabord, and you got to think what's going on here on the pull-up bar is what really slowed them down.
It is what slowed them down, and the fact that it's not just a physical thing. I mean, that big jump is taking time. The fact that one athlete has to hang out on the bar extra long takes extra time. It takes gas out of the tank. Then it's just the frustration of knowing exactly where you were coming into this particular event, knowing the placing that your men put you in to get to this point. And then Kristen and Ellie are kind of hanging out back here. They saw all those teams go past them, and that's very frustrating. And it's hard to keep a very positive mental attitude of I'm going to keep on doing well and I'm doing well when everyone starts running by you like that. That's a tough spot to be in. And nobody wants to be the worst person on your team.
Mayhem Independence, they came in 28 points back of OC3. And that deficit will certainly increase after this event as well. So OC3 really doing themselves a solid by winning back-to-back events and then getting help from the other 2 teams that have already qualified.
Yeah, that was, they couldn't have asked for anything better than that.
Miller and Kabord are done, and they will make it across. And they get inside that 20-minute mark, 19:49.22 seconds for them. 3 teams remain on the field. It's CrossFit 417, CrossFit Balance, and Ramwad Witt as Camila Blanc-Bazinet and Jessica Griffith. And this is a team, again, that has already qualified and received an invite courtesy of the effort that they put up earlier this year at Wodapalooza.
And look at that. They're moving really fast, too. So it kind of begs the question, well, what happened? Because they seem to have a lot of gas left in the tank right here. They're moving quickly, except for breaks like that. That's where things start to break down, and that usually is a frustration. And with Don't Stop and the teams that have been put together under Travis, is usually something like that. If they can keep their heads going the same direction, they really are an unstoppable team. They are devastating to the field. But if someone starts to break down, it's like an epic fail, and everything just the wheels really fall off the car.
Well, and this is where practice and familiarity with your teammates comes in, because look at those teams that have been together for a while. They get to practice all the time. They know the pace. They know where people want to break. They get used to that sort of unspoken communication. As CrossFit 417, they are now in. And then Ramwad Witt, they are in. And that leaves CrossFit Balance, the pair of Caitlin Mead, who just subbed in, and Zoe Pond McPherson left on the field. And Caitlin Mead in the white top, as you heard Roe earlier, she's just a gym member there at CrossFit Balance.
Yeah, but the nice thing about CrossFit is you always have gym equipment, right? You're always ready to go. Especially the girls. They always have, some workout pants and a sports bra. So, but I just think that it's great that they allow the team to keep competing. One, because that allows that team to know exactly where they're standing. But if you give in every member the opportunity to step on the floor with CrossFit Mayhem,
I think they'd do it.
I think it's going
to be a humbling experience, but
oh my God,
got to take that opportunity. Now
it's
again,
Balance
isn't going to be able to record any scores. They're officially out of the competition because they had to make a change to their roster. but they are letting them stay in and compete.
But the experience that you're getting, that the team is getting, is going to be massive.
Well, Zoe Pond McPherson and Caitlin Mead will come across the finish line in a valiant effort from Caitlin Mead, stepping in for the injured Elizabeth Perry, who lacerated in her hand and broke her finger in the opening event, and that'll do it. But for the second straight event, CrossFit OC3 with 100 points, and they are sitting solidly atop the overall standings with 5 events remaining.
And you know, in the men's pair of OC3, they came out blasting. Look at that. A lot of good communication, making sure that they knew exactly where they were, watching each other go. But I'm sorry, if you're going to go head-to-head with Rich Froning and his team, it's tough to beat. So Rich and Dre doing their thing, staying on exact synchronization. I said that they look like shadows of each other. Even the burpees were identical. I mean, look at that. The angles that they move backwards are exactly the same. That's how synced these guys are. But that's the benefit, like you were saying, Sean, of being able to have that kind of training every single day. Same thing with the ladies. I mean, and again, you have such high-level athletes in China and Tasia, but they just didn't have the tempo. Now, OC3, they need this. So there's a little bit more pressure on them to perform, and they did exactly that. Fast on the deadlifts, bigger sets, and then their tempo on their burpee pull-ups was just more than freedom. So they were able to surpass, and not even just by a little bit. Like we saw it was rep for a while, then they just pulled away. Once they saw they had that window, they went for it, and a great second finish for them.
Back-to-back event wins for OC3 as they wrap up another 100 points and keep themselves atop the overall standings here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. And then they got some help from 2 teams that have already qualified, CrossFit Mayhem Freedom and Don't Stop, finishing second and third. Rory McKernan is with your event winners, Iowa's finest, CrossFit OC3.
Well, the men had a little bit more time to relax, but I need to talk to the women because you guys just beasted through that couplet. I thought that you were aggressive and took chances on the deadlift, but you said that's not even the case.
Well, we were kind of between going unbroken, not unbroken, pacing it, and what inevitably always ends up happening is that we end up racing each other and going faster than anticipated. So, you know, it's just one of those things, play it by ear.
Yeah, but you even told me that was almost your conservative pace. You wanted to do 21 unbroken. So are you glad in retrospect that it played out the way it did?
In hindsight, yes. We could have probably done 21 unbroken, but the burpees would have been way slower.
Okay, a big question here. 2 event wins back-to-back, beating teams that you'll see at the CrossFit Games, possibly CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. What does that mean?
We're definitely here to compete with everyone. Every team here, we want to have a good competition with every single team. So that's it.
2 events, 2 event wins. Ladies and gentlemen, OC3.
CrossFit OC3 in the driver's seat after 2 events as far as that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games is concerned. Competition's done outside. We're going to move inside. We'll have the rest of the day's competition starting with the men's shipper in about an hour. Stay with us here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational.